Yeah. So you came up to me, like I said, and you said, "Can you disprove atheism?" I told you it disproves itself. So I mean, let's start with like a background. Like, what's your background like?
My background is kind of culturally Christian.
Okay. So you grew up in a Christian household, basically.
But only culturally.
Yeah, nominally, and not really like reading the Bible or anything like that. Yeah. Maybe like you go to the church at a wedding or a funeral, basically. Not even that. Okay, cool.
Well, maybe once or twice.
Okay, cool. So then, when did you become an atheist?
When I first learned about atheism.
Okay. When did you learn about atheism?
Around age 14, 15.
Okay. So what did you learn that made you an atheist?
I learned that some people are atheists.
No, but okay, there's some people that are Hindus. Why did you become a Hindu?
At that time, that was like the first time I ever thought about belief or disbelief in God as a thing. Before it wasn't something I really thought about.
Yeah.
Then as soon as I thought about it and looked introspected, I thought that's the position I'll take.
But it kind of sounds like you went into the candy store, and then the first thing you saw, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna take that, and you walked out.
It wasn't the first thing I saw.
Because you said you're like, what's it called? This is the first time I started questioning, or even like the first time I came across atheism was with regards to questioning whether God exists or not.
Yeah.
And then you didn't mention looking into, like I said, like you said, the reason is I found atheists, and you didn't say, okay, well, there's Hindus that exist. So why didn't you look into Hinduism? Why did you look into Islam? Why did you?
I've looked into those.
Okay, so you have.
After, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then.
Older than 15.
So then again, you're sorry?
I'm older than 15 now.
Oh yeah, I mean yes, of course. So my point is, what convinced you of atheism and not other things?
What's convinced me? I would say negative atheism is the default position, but I was a kind of a default theist in terms of.
Can you just define for me negative atheist?
Negative would just be
just for everybody, so they understand what you're saying.
Just someone who does not believe in God.
Okay, so that would
opposed to positive atheism.
Yes.
Someone who posits no God exists.
Yeah, that's fine. So then you'd say that's how you started, and are you a positive atheist now? Because you're in a conversation, trying to defend that lack of a God. So that sounds like you're a positive atheist now.
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you. So what convinced you of positive atheism? What convinced you that no God exists?
Something I could convince you of.
Nothing you could convince me. So then it sounds like it's purely subjective then.
You can say that, yeah. And
is that an intellectual position then to hold?
Isn't it? It's a position on matters of intellect.
Yeah, but it's not a rational one. It's just an emotional or subjective one that you can't really.
It is emotional or subjective, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to just go back to one point that you said about like negative atheism being the positive position. That's not actually the case. You even have atheists. So you said it's a default position, yeah. So I'm telling you, it's not actually the case. The negative atheism, not the positive one.
Okay.
Because human beings, like from what we've studied about human nature and what we've looked at in the psychology of religion and stuff like that, you could look at Justin Barrett's famous study. It's a very, very huge, humongous study with Oxford University about human beings being born with a natural inclination, a natural yearning to recognize a creator or a God or some form of something greater than that is brought about everything there is. He even cites the Islamic concept of the fitrah, which is basically the natural, that we believe that everybody's born on a fitrah, which basically is a natural disposition, a natural disposition to recognize the one who created you, like a signature, if you will. So we'd say that that what happens is you're born and you're socialized primarily. First, you have your primary socialization through your parents, then you have your secondary socialization through your school, society, etc. And we live in a secular society. We live in a society that's anti-theistic. We live in a society that's highly materialistic. All these things that don't accommodate for religion, don't accommodate for God in the picture. In fact, they say that these things are a distraction because they don't have any economic value. If you're spending time praying, reflecting, pondering, trying to do good works, these are not necessarily, you're not being a good worker for the capitalist economy. You're not providing value for other people to profit off your labor, etc., etc. So that's what I'd say to you. So on that point. So to you, why do you think atheism is the truth, even subjectively?
Even subjectively, it's hard to describe. Well, wanted to ask you is about the.
No, I mean, there's no point. I'm trying to learn why you're an atheist in the first place. There's no point about talking about that. So, because here's the thing: if you're an emotional atheist, then like you're just basically you just want to live a life a specific way, which is like living your life based on whatever you desire. Then we're speaking different things. Because I'm trying to speak rationally about what best corresponds to the truth. You're saying.
I want to talk about the truth. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. So if you care about the truth, then we would do things based on reason and logic.
Let's do that.
But yeah, fantastic. So, but if you're saying that my atheism is based on an emotional position, then we're talking different languages. Because then nothing I will say will convince you. Because I'll be using reason, you'll be using emotion, and we won't have a productive dialogue. So that's what I'm just trying to determine. Like, what's the metal, the real metal of your position, really?
Real metal of my position of atheism is. Well, I've looked into philosophy, arguments for the existence of God. Looked into various worldviews that are religious worldviews, non-religious ones. Yeah. And I've not found
something that convinced you.
Convincing.
Okay. Which arguments you didn't find convincing?
Sorry?
Which arguments didn't you find convincing?
Things such as.
I'm not talking about just philosophy, bro. I'm talking about literally like you're a person that exists, correct? You exist?
I exist, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So, when we look at things, like part of like how the human, condition is wired, really. If you hear a knock on the door, you automatically assume there's a cause to that. Whatever that is, it doesn't matter. So we see causation everywhere. Yeah. So there's existence. The most rational thing to do. Forget philosophy. Forget any of this. Just reason with me for a bit. The most rational thing to do is to understand. Yeah, sure, but philosophy is also a lot of other things. So, what's it called? What is the cause behind, or what is the reason that there is existence rather than non-existence, for example? What do you think about that?
I think the question is flawed.
Really? Why not?
The starting point, because you can't start from non-existence to get existence.
No. So how could existence be the starting point?
You're asking how? What do you mean how?
Well, I'm telling you, we know that existence wasn't always there. As in, like the contingent kind, things that are like finite. We're talking about, because look, bro, like what I asked you was strictly about you. I said, do you exist? There was a point where you didn't exist.
Yeah.
I asked you about the existence we see around us. All this at some point didn't exist, but it then came about, right? So we should rationally, when we see there's something that caused this stuff. So I'm not debating with you. There's a point there was absolute nothing. Yeah, I agree with you. There's no point where there was absolute nothing.
Okay, we're in agreement there.
Okay, fantastic. But the point is that there's all these things that didn't need to exist.
Okay.
They didn't need to. You didn't need to exist. Neither did your parents, neither did any of this. So what caused it?
Whatever was the initial conditions of the universe.
Yeah, but then the universe also didn't always exist.
In terms of the initial conditions, that would be the beginning.
No, but that's the thing. There was all the things that you're talking about, all these contingent things, they didn't exist at the time. That's why they're contingent.
I'm not talking about all of the things. I'm talking about whatever was, I can't really put any detail on it, but whatever was the initial conditions of the universe.
Yeah, but even, again, the universe.
Yeah.
The conditions of the universe and the universe, all these things are all contingent. So, because they weren't always there. That's the point. And they relied on other contingent things as well. And not only that, like if you even want to take because you're an atheist, I'm sure you hold science in a very high regard. If you want to look at the scientific consensus, they'll also agree. They'll say, look, what's it called? The Big Bang's actually the singularities where all maths and all that breaks down. But at the end of the day, it all began at some point. I mean, i.e., it's not infinite. It's temporal.
Okay. Yeah.
So there you go.
I'm not asserting an infinite past.
Fantastic. So that means, why did this come about, and rather than not coming about? It could have just as well not have existed. Why did it exist? Why did it come about?
Well, you're asking why, as in to ask why.
The cause. That's what I'm asking. Yeah, of course. That's the reason we're using rationale now.
Okay.
Good. So what's? Because here's the thing. Atheism is a worldview. Yeah. Brother, just watch out. Yeah. No, it's a worldview. So it should inform you on the world. It's a paradigm that you see the world in. It gives you explanations about things. It gives you a way to assess the world in front of you. Yeah.
Sure.
So what does atheism say about why there is existence existence rather than non-existence. Because you know why I said to you, atheism defeats itself, is because not only is it contradictory, it also has no explanatory power. It explains nothing. That's what I believe. So I want to see. So I would love to be proven wrong. Like, does atheism really give you any explanation on why you exist rather than not exist? Which is basically the most foundational question to all other questions. Because if you didn't exist, you wouldn't be pondering anything else.
True. No, because atheism is an answer to one single question.
No, it's not. It's a worldview. But the most foundational question in a worldview is why you exist in the first place. Because you wouldn't have any of all the other questions. Because all the other questions are predicated on you actually existing.
You think atheism is a worldview that would answer these questions?
I'm saying that atheism has no explanatory power in general, and
it's a single answer to a single question.
No, it's an answer to a single question that has implications on other questions. That's the point. It's not isolated. You don't. A disbelief in a creator has implications on your existence.
Sure.
Because now you have to tell me, okay, well, if a creator God didn't give rise to your existence, what did? And the problem is, atheism has no answer on that.
Okay, well, I can't give you a complete explanation of everything, but
you don't even need to give me a complete. You can't even give me anything. That's the whole problem of abiogenesis. You can't, like, even because I'm just waiting for you to throw evolution in there because that's the go-to it's a go-to get out of jail free card for atheists. Okay. But even that, it won't help you because evolution is the development of life. It has nothing to say on the origin of life.
Okay, but
nothing to say.
We're even going before that, so you're going to.
No, I know, but I'm helping you. I'm saying, look, even if you wanted to go to evolution, we're talking before that, and the problem is that you have nothing to say about non-organic coming to organic life. So that's the problem with abiogenesis, yeah? So evolution has nothing to say on origins. It's all about the development of life. So we're talking about something pre that. So you can't even jump to evolution and say, look, atheism allows me to believe in evolution, which informs why I exist. It doesn't even help you there. So my claim to you was what? Atheism, no explanatory power, so has no utility. So even from a pragmatic perspective, you shouldn't hold it. On top of that, it's a contradictory worldview. So why do you hold it?
How's it contradicts?
It's contradictory because it does not explain and actually falsely explains how how there is existence rather than non-existence.
It doesn't give an explanation of something that can't be explained.
Okay, atheism is big. Okay, are you? How about this? No, brother, please, just 1 second. I don't want to. No, just. Yeah, but you're heckling now. I'm having a private discussion. Yeah, okay, don't heckle. Go somewhere else where you're wanted, right? You're heckling for no reason. Did you come up to me and you wanted to have a private conversation, me and you, one-on-one, or do you want a heckler? It's up to you. If you accept it, I'm fine with it. Because you came up to me out of respect for you. I'm keeping it to you, to us two. But if two people, yeah, okay, good. He left.
I couldn't hear what you said.
I'm on your side.
Okay.
Do you need help from somebody else, or are you good to like handle your own self?
Might be fun, but you say you're on my side based on what?
No. See, I'm not. Look, if you guys want to have a discussion, I'll walk away. No problem.
Okay,
what's C? I respect him as a human being, and I think that he's capable to carry himself accordingly.
What I was saying, no.
How about this? Take a ticket, and you're next. No problem. Take a ticket, and you're next.
I was on your side about saying no silences would give 100%.
Okay, I agree with that. So what's the problem? Again, you're just interrupting for no reason. Anyways, just ignore the hecklers.
Okay.
So my point is that you not only do not have any utility in your worldview, the reason. First of all, it's contradictory in the sense that you're holding a position that's an intellectual position. Positive atheism is an intellectual position, but then you're holding it on emotional reasons, which you admitted to.
I would say emotional, but
it's not rational. You admitted that, and I'm telling you it's emotional because that's the only thing left for you.
Okay, let's go with that.
Yeah, so that's a problem. Don't you see the problem? Because our emotions could lead us to flawed conclusions. And you said to me, because here's the contradiction, yeah? You said to me that I got to atheism based on an investigation. But then you also said to me it's a non-rational decision. It's just subjective. So how could it be both ways?
Well, I'll say I
thought it's supposed to be the product of a rational investigation.
I'll say I maintained my atheism in the year since. rational.
Yeah, but see, I'll give you an example, yeah? So when I started practicing Islam, I was 19 when I made the decision. And since then, I've only reinforced that with further rational investigation. Not only into Islam, but other things. So you telling me that, oh, okay, I initially was rationally investigating, but then held it on emotionally, still isn't good. Because that means you haven't, the other way around. Yeah. So you held it on emotionally first, and then you rationally investigated.
I would say let's go with that, yeah.
Okay, so then what is the rational investigation for atheism? Then what is the rational proof? What's the metal of your position? Like, what makes you an atheist, rationally speaking?
I've looked into the arguments like the contingency argument and so on, and they all fail.
But but contingency argument is not talking about God. It's talking about a necessary being. That's the first step.
Yeah,
I'm talking to you. What's it called? What failed you, or what basically made you think that God doesn't? Because see, there's a difference between what's it called? Arguments about necessary existence, whatever. That's fine. Put that aside. God existing and not existing, completely different thing. You think God does not exist. That means you think that there is something that you've witnessed, or there's an argument that proves rationally, it deduces that God doesn't exist. What is that argument? Because I've been studying all these atheist arguments for, I've lost count how many years, and I've never seen an argument that successfully deduces God doesn't exist.
Okay.
Show me one.
Okay.
We could rattle on. Yeah, give me one.
If God existed, there would be proof. Premise 2.
Who said that? That's okay. First of all,
So
if God existed. If God existed, there would be proof. That's an assumption. Why?
That's an assertion. Yeah.
Okay, that's an assertion. And by the way, it's a very bad assertion, because this assumes that if there was proof, we'd be able to see it. There's because you like philosophy. There's a philosopher, and he discusses the Elmer Fudd problem of epistemology when it comes to the problem of evil. And he says we might just be the Elmer Fudds of morality and of understanding evil. We overestimate. We might actually not know anything, or not be capable at all in determining whether this proof epistemologically, speaking, like outside of evil exists, or with regards to assessing evil exists. So you are just overestimating your ability. There might be proof, but you just might not have access to it. So by the way, I'm not saying this is a good argument to believe in God. All I'm saying is what you just put forward does not deduce necessarily that God doesn't exist. It doesn't just because God exists doesn't necessitate that you would have access to some proof. So that doesn't work. Next argument.
That's the best I got.
That's the best you got. Yeah. Seriously, so that's really what made you an atheist.
No.
A rationally convinced atheist.
That's why I stay an atheist.
But that's what I mean. You stick to being an atheist because of this.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, how about this? Let's run it pragmatically, yeah? You know Pascal's wager?
Of course I do.
You do, yeah? Okay, so let's do a compare and contrast.
Okay.
Because we've been talking about pragmatism and how atheism has no explanatory power and stuff.
Okay.
If I live my life believing in God, following the guidance that protects me from all the harms that this world has to offer me, yes? So I live a life, as long as I stick to the guidance, keeps me away from the harms. For example, alcohol. Alhamdulillah, I have zero chance of getting behind the wheel and killing somebody or killing myself as a drink driver. Zero chance, as long as I follow the guidance. I have zero chance of becoming an alcoholic. Alcoholics, people think that they have, again, it's this overestimation of your abilities. Again, not you, but like us as human beings. We're always so arrogant. No alcoholics started out thinking that they would become an alcoholic. They always thought that they could control their alcohol consumption. They're like, oh no, I could control myself. And eventually, one bad thing happened in his life that led him to drink a bit more, and that led him to maybe having bad relations with his wife, and that led him to have bad relations at work. He loses his job, loses his wife, gets on the street, and now you have a homeless alcoholic out of nowhere like this. Islam protects me from that.
And then?
Sexual immorality. Islam protects me from that. All the emotional baggage that comes with multiple relations over periods of time. They look at studies about how the amount of partners you have before marriage has a direct correlation with your divorce rates. And moving in with your partner before marriage, same thing. So Islam protects me from all these things. I live a life protected from all these things, yeah? You, on the other hand, you don't have this guidance. Let's say, we're just saying pragmatically speaking, yeah?
Yeah.
Doesn't forget whether it's true or not, yeah? So let's see who's taking the bigger risk, yeah? I live a great life. You live a life exposed to all these traumas and all these problems because your government sure doesn't protect you from it. Your government hands out gambling licenses. Your government encourages gambling ads. Your government allows for alcohol consumption. All these things, yeah? And it leaves you to it and you're like, figure it out. And then on top of that, you have the possibility of an afterlife. So in this life, I win because I'm protected from all these things. You're exposed to all these things. In a possibility of an afterlife, if I die and your position is true, atheism is true, there's nothing after death, I am there's no consciousness to realize this. So I die happy upon Islam, no problem, and I'm never, because somebody might say, oh, well, you missed out on all this, this and that. First of all, I didn't miss out on anything because I'm not yearning to do any of this stuff. But even if I did feel like I'm missing out, I wouldn't be conscious to recognize it. So I lose nothing if afterlife doesn't exist. On the other hand, and you of course don't, because there's nothing there anyways for you to even believe in, and you died upon that. If God exists and I'm right, you have eternal hellfire and eternal suffering to be worried about as well. Now obviously I'm not saying you necessarily because I don't know what's in your heart. I'm saying that the person who dies upon kufr, concealing the truth and having seen the message of Islam true to him and rejected it, they have eternal hellfire awaits compared to somebody who, not even myself, because only Allah knows where we go, a Muslim who died upon Islam and Allah accepted it from him. So in the afterlife, you lose. And in this life, you lose. I win in both scenarios. So even on a pragmatic perspective, I have no idea why you would hold on to atheism. Because again, no explanatory power, doesn't protect you in this life, doesn't give you any kind of guidance. Again, it's an empty ideology. And then in the afterlife, doesn't protect you from the possibility of a hellfire, and it doesn't provide you.
Assume there's only two options, of course, in this.
What's the other option?
Christianity, Judaism.
Yeah, that's no problem. Again, at least it's a belief in God. Again, you're now going into further assumptions. But here's the thing: a Christian still has a much better chance than you do.
Okay.
Or not you, as an atheist, somebody who outwardly rejects God. Okay. Then it's again, you're lowering your chances of getting it wrong. It's fine. But atheist is the worst position to hold, and agnostic. You don't even have your hat in any race.
I didn't say anything to you.
All this, okay, you think this is a proof of God's existence?
No, I'm telling you, it's shocking. I'm saying it's shocking that you held atheism for the argument of basically if there was proof that I'd be able to know it, and that was somehow supposed to be a deductive proof for God not existing, which it's not, obviously. And then, no, I mean, I showed you it's not. So wait, if you think it's a valid proof again, that would either show that you didn't understand what I said, or
there's some validity in the sound.
Yes, of course. No, but it's. I understand what you're saying, but it's yeah, you're right. I should have said sound. It's unsound because the premise is false. The first premise. So no problem. Yeah, you want to say it's not sound, fine. So it's not a sound argument, but you know a good argument is valid and sound.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's shocking to me why you'd still hold on to atheism, because you don't have a valid and sound argument for it, and neither is it pragmatically effective. So why would you hold on to atheism? It's just shocking. I don't understand it. That's why I told you atheism is it's a nothing burger. Really, it offers you nothing. So I have no clue why you'd believe in it. And I think you've
motivated sort of belief. It's a.
Of course it is.
It's a lack of being convinced of.
No, it's not a lack. It's not a lack. Because remember, you said we're not talking about negative atheists, we're talking about a positive. You were convinced by arguments against God's existence. And the only one you brought forward, and you said this is the only thing I got. The only one you brought forward is not sound.
I was convinced to stay convinced to stay a negative atheist throughout my investigation.
But the Pascal's wager messes up your negative atheism anyways, and I told you about the studies about human nature also messes it up. The idea that it's human nature to be an atheist negatively, not true. And on top of that, what's it called? The Pascal's wager shows you that even on it benefits you to believe in God, even if you didn't want to say that you're rationally convinced of God. So on both counts, you're negative atheism and you're positive.
You're saying benefits in this life, those are about, it's not about the belief in God, it's about following the guidance.
So what do you mean?
Yeah, you're talking about benefits in this life.
Yeah.
Not
following the guidance
and so on.
Sure.
And I don't ignore I can't say I follow guidance, but I don't ignore all guidance.
No, I know, but the problem is what? The guidance that you have is a free-for-all. They have the Marxists trying to guide you, your government trying to guide you, your boss trying to guide you, etc., etc. You know, the Quran talks about the difference between a slave with many masters and a slave with one master. See, as a Muslim, I just submit to my one creator, and I get my guidance from that source. But you're gonna get thrown around between masters. You know, at work, you have an example of somebody who has like 5 bosses. One boss tells you to do this, another boss tells you to do that, another boss.
It can be a very successful management tool.
Okay, thank you for your heckling. Appreciate that. Take a ticket. You're next in line. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm sure you think so.
Where's your
Anyways, not interested. Not interested. So the difference is. Appreciate it. Thank you.
will understand.
Take a ticket. Wait in line. Take a ticket. Wait in line. Take a ticket. Wait in line. Anyways, point is that you're gonna have your desires telling you to do one thing, and then you're gonna have the law telling you to do another. Because, for example, if we wanted to be strictly animalistic in our desires, let's say if somebody has sexual desires and they just want to satiate these sexual desires to the maximum potential. Just don't think. If you want to satiate your sexual desires to the maximum potential in this day and age, and you just want to go have sex with every woman you want to have sex with, this will go against the social morality that you've grown up with. It will go against the laws. So you'll be always you'll be dealing with contradicting forces in your life, trying to figure out. Yes, the wonder of life is to be lost. I know that's what you think. That's fine. Yes, you are. Yeah, yes, what you are. Anyways, so you will
emotional.
Okay, cool. Thank you. The point is that you will have to figure out basically with our limited rationale, with your limited time on this earth, with the we know who that is. We know who that
We're in the
is.
same boat. We all got a limited amount of time.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you have a lot more potholes to get into, and a lot more issues to get into, and a lot more. Learn. You know, it's supposed to be English manners. English manners. You know, they say English manners. You're supposed to know how to carry yourself. Yeah. You're supposed to know how to. No, he came up to me to have a private conversation. Bye bye. You still don't have manners. You still don't have manners. You know, this is. You know, it's funny because these are the same guys. These are the same guys. Yeah. These are the same guys who think. These are the same guys who think that immigrants don't know how to carry themselves in British society. Yeah. These are the same guys. Yeah. Who think that they need to get immigrants out of here because they don't know how to be British and don't carry British values. Same guys. We know what your beliefs are. You've been in the park here for a long time. Yeah. So this is the same guy who can't even carry himself. Who can't even. I know. Listen. Did your parents? Did you struggle? Did your parents ever say no to you? Did your parents ever say no to you? Did your parents ever say no to you? Yeah. Are you struggling? Do you need attention? Do you need attention? Do you need attention? Oh, Speaker's Corner. I get to do what I want. I get to do what I want. Yeah. Keep walking. Keep walking.
I'm not walking.
Keep walking. Yeah, I know, because your parents didn't ever tell you no. Yeah, you're moaning. And you're whinging. You're whinging. And you're, again, the same people, yeah? The same people can't handle. It isn't ad hominem. I'm not debating you. I'm not debating you, so I am ad hominem you.
Yes, you are.
Yes, go ahead. Mind your language. 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 Mind your language.
Grow a backbone.
Mind your language. Mind your language. There's kids watching. Mind your language.
What, on your private video?
Mind your language.
Private video.
Mind your language.
I thought this was a private conversation.
Anyways, you're a diseased human being. Anyways.
A bit more ad hominem.
Anyways.
Come on.
Anyways, bro. So point is, to conclude, because this person is just a disease, conclude.
I'm diseased.
The argument that you brought forward for atheism, is not sound, yeah? We've established that. And on top of that, you said that this is all I've got, and then I've given you reason to get rid of your negative atheism through pragmatic reasons. So I think the best thing for you to do is now either to go find a better argument for why God doesn't exist, or you then start looking into why God does exist, which is what I gave you good reason to do for today.
No, judging by your level of arrogance.
No, I said it's a good reason to reject negative atheism.
Negative atheism.
What is negative atheism?
It's his definitions. Stop.
Well, that's why I asked him. And I was looking. It's not all about
not interested. Not interested.
That is a reason. That would be a reason to believe.
Sorry?
You're saying passive?
Of course it is. A pragmatic reason to believe. Of course it is. It shouldn't be your only reason. It's a pragmatic reason, though.
Well, reason to believe what?
In a God.
But that doesn't get you out of hell in any religion. Just believing.
No. Again, I said it's one reason. It's not the only reason. Yeah, if you're just believing because you thought it was a beneficial thing to do, of course, that's a disingenuous. But one, I said I give you a pointer away from atheism to go do more research. Because look, I can only work with what you gave me. You said to me the only thing you gave me was, hey, this is the best argument I have for atheism. We've shown it's not sound, and you said that's all I got.
You've done that, have you? Is that what you've achieved?
Achievement of atheism.
Sorry?
For positive atheism.
That's for positive atheism, exactly. Yeah. And that's the position. And that's the position you came with, positive atheism. Yeah. And we dispatched of it. Alhamdulillah.
As atheist, I can read the clickbait title already. Because you're working for DawahWise, aren't you? That's who's paying them.
Anything else?
Anything else?
DawahWise, who will never show
End it here.
YouTube.
Thanks for the nice conversation. I appreciate how cordial you were. Unlike some of the nutters that hang around this park that don't know how to carry themselves. So it's been very lovely talking to you, and I'd love to have more conversations with you in the future, inshallah.
Next week.
Sounds good. Good to meet you. Jason, yeah?
Yeah.
Good to meet you, yeah? Take care, yeah? Anyways, so as we know, some numpties in the park don't know how to handle themselves. The regulars don't know how to handle themselves. This guy's been coming here for years, and he still does not know basic manners. Where's the British manners? Where's the British manners? Where's the British manners? Yeah, I mean, he's just here, dishonest. He doesn't care about actually reaching truth. He doesn't care about actually even he doesn't even care about other people. He's not even here to preach something to other people that's like, oh, here, I want to help you live a better life. You know, Muslims, we come with the intention, you know, I'm here spending my Sunday just to try to pass on the same message that somebody passed on to me. See, I experienced goodness after I accepted Islam. Alhamdulillah. I want to pass that goodness on. That's the reason people give dawah. We want to pass that message in the same path as the prophets. These guys, they just come here to poop stir, let's say, you know. They have nothing better to do. Just instigate. They just want attention, and their parents, you know, never gave them that attention, so they come here to get it from the park. Anyways, Jazakumullah khair. Subscribe to DawahWise, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.